So, in addition to getting faster and integrating more black metal elements into the songwriting, I think there's also a movement towards longer songs and less traditional structures. Was that intentional, or did that just come about naturally?
It's kind of just the thing that it definitely comes naturally, because there's times where we're like, hey, let's try to write let's write a short song. And then it's like 9 minutes long or something. We're like, so things like that definitely happen like pretty naturally. And then like this style of music we're playing, this this like obscure black metal, like it's definitely for like, it's for us, it's for us, and it's for people who really enjoy it. So it's kind of like, you can kind of, yeah, I feel like you have more freedom. Like if we're not trying to be kind of I mean, God, this is also cliche, but I guess like I definitely kind of we do try to like, just get away from like exactly what we'd want, or exactly what you would like predict, I guess, predictability kind of. But it's not even that, because we do want to like make sure that each kind of, that's not just kind of a riff salad, but just exploring those things too, I guess, like making mistakes. Like we try to practice quite a bit. We all like love to kind of be in the room. So a lot of it kind of comes from that too.
Do you guys write in the room together, or do you like trade riffs back and forth over email and stuff like that?
I mean, so this is all like the pre-Rona, of course, the before time. So like basically we'll do things like different, kind of a few different ways, like I guess, but usually, yeah, Matt will kind of have he'll have an idea, or he'll have like an entire kind of song, and then we'll just kind of like, it'll be kind of like these chunks, and then we'll kind of like form them together, form the transitions. Like he might, like he's always receptive to kind of how we want to play kind of together with what he's doing, and sometimes it just turns into something that's just way different than like exactly what he had envisioned. But it's definitely good to just kind of like start somewhere. Like that's definitely the toughest part, I feel like, about writing songs, is just like starting, like anything, I guess. So I feel like when someone creates something, especially someone who I like to work with and I trust, it's just like, okay, let's just go with it. Like instead of being like, oh, that's not exactly what I had in mind, you just kind of build off of it, instead of, because it just takes a lot to start to like press the pencil to the paper.
Is Matt responsible for most of the songs?
Like there's always just a gray area, especially just because it's like we're writing them together. There's moments that come about that are from the drums or from the bass or from, but I feel like for the most part it's definitely him and John. John has definitely he's been contributing a lot, but for the most part, kind of before he joined, a lot of that kind of went onto Matt's shoulders. And mainly it's just because he's just very ambitious. So he wants to keep writing, and so do I. So I'm just like, hey, like let's do it. But no, I believe there was like quite a bit of collaboration between kind of Matt and John with the guitar parts. Yeah, it's usually just kind of forming a lot of it kind of together.
At the end of July, Drouth released what is, I believe, your second album. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's their second full length.
Tell me about excerpts from a Dread Liturgy.
This is kind of just like a continuation, kind of after we felt like we've begun to actually become like a pretty well-oiled machine at this point too. Like we're doing tours, we're all like communicating very well together, we tour very well together, we have like a lot of fun, we show up on time to practices, we're like very consistent. And I feel like a lot of those are just like, can be pretty important, like especially just for longevity, because you're not getting tired of each other. So we actually kind of wrote this record, and then we did like a tour, I believe, last summer to like Texas and back. And I think it was like a week and a half. And so when we got back, and then we recorded basically, like it was actually, we tracked drums. The first day of tracking was on my birthday, August 2nd. So it was like, and that's like great. Like I'm just like, cool, my birthday, perfect thing to be playing drums, tracking drums today. Yeah, I mean, I guess just writing it was really trying to make sure that we all were really kind of going for it, like really figuring out what we wanted to do, what we wanted to play, different, like trying to be just really collaborative, like with the new group. Like it's kind of after Knives, Labyrinths, Mirrors, we basically, our bass player and our guitar player quit, and it was kind of just like a multiple reasons, but it was like nothing really, like we kind of like, we maintained friendships and everything like that, but it was just like they kind of just, wanted to part ways. But that's kind of really tough for a band to kind of lose two members. So, and like we had just made the record, and kind of keeping in the spirit of like just continuing forward, we just like we're like, hey, you know what, we're gonna find some new members, and we're just gonna write new songs. Like just because like, when you're playing music like this, that's like intense and kind of, we're not like doing big tours. We're not being able to pay like people like to bring in new members. It's kind of like, hey, we want them to be a part of that, if they want to be. So we wanted to kind of start fresh. So we kind of like started writing like new songs pretty quickly. Yeah, and basically just wanted to do a batch of like pieces that were all kind of like written together, written to kind of chronicle like that moment in our lives. Like sometimes you can take years to write a record, but sometimes it's nice to do it quickly and really capture what's going on. And you can really like kind of more pinpoint what was going on with these records. I've done a few like that where I'm just like it's really cool to look back, I guess, because it's like instead of being this long drawn out thing, yeah, you're like, that's it, like we just did it. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's like you captured it, and you keep going. So yeah, it was great. I mean, we tracked again we go to our friend Fester, recorded a lot of amazing bands like out of Portland and all over. Like he's done like a lot of like Uznia records and Burials. He's actually one of the members of the band's Burials, which is like incredible death metal, like just I don't know. They're one of the best bands in town. Anyway, it was great to work with him again. He's just he's a guitar wizard, so it was really great to kind of always get to kind of like collaborate with him.
So, as you mentioned, this will be the first album with your new guitarist and bassist, John Edwards and Tyler Wolf. Tell me how you met them, and how would you describe their contributions to this album?
So it's pretty funny to like, yeah, working with Fester, basically mixing through Knives, Labyrinths, Mirrors. We're in the mixing room with him, and we're like, hey man, like, our guitarist, our other guitarist just quit. He's just like looking at the monitor, doing his thing, and he's like Beach, John Beach. That's what John goes by. Beach metal. He's like, Beach metal. That's your man. His band just broke up. Like he's in the band called Satanarchist. It's like a 2-man kind of death metal band and death metal punk. And like the drummer ended up moving to the East Coast kind of right around this time. And like, yeah, so it was actually just super perfect. But it was just funny. He's just like, yep, he's your man. And then basically when we were looking for bass players around the same time, he's like longtime hometown friend, Tyler Wolf's, and like he was just it's another great fit, and just like it's just really important to make sure that we had people who wanted to be in the band, that really wanted to be a part of like even if we even offered John, we're like, hey, should we start a new band? Should we like change the name? Like, what do you think? Like we don't even care. Like, let's just. And he's like, nope, it's good. And we're like, okay, like, do you want to play shows soon, or should we just like write new songs? And so then that's kind of when we started. We built like a new set that was like maybe 15 minutes long that we started playing shows with, 15, 20 minutes. And we included one of the old songs with that from Knives. And yeah, but it was just great. It was like, yeah, so their contributions were, it's just awesome having people really excited to be in the band. Great to communicate with. We're all kind of like getting to be veterans at this point. So it's like, you just kind of like learn how to work together and how to like not get on each other's nerves, and how to have fun, how to chill out. Yeah, so same thing with Tyler. Was basically he was just recommended by John, and he was like another guy from North Portland up here, and just like basically just the same thing, like just super excited to be in the band, super just glad to be there, can tour, we'll make it work. We're feeling really good. I think everyone's feeling like their voice is heard. Like we make sure that we're just like, hey, like if we play a show and like you don't want to do it for any reason, we don't care if it's like the biggest show, my favorite band. If one person's like, I don't want to do it, I can't do it, it's like, cool, like we're not going to do it. No big. It's like we don't want to do it if it's not like just 100% in, no matter what it is, I guess.
Did Tyler and John join immediately after your previous album?
Yeah, they joined like I think around 2018, kind of around maybe around the beginning of the year.
And you guys went into the studio with excerpts, as you mentioned, in August of 2019. So it sounds like this album came together pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah. I think the timeline. Yeah, I think it's like they actually might have joined basically like the winter of like 2018, 2019 we wrote, and then we recorded in August. Yeah, so it was just kind of like really kind of when they joined, we just got to just hit the ground running.